Hi everyone, I'm Michael, your community manager on Deathgarden, and today I'm joined by
Ash, the creative director.
So today we have our very first DG Insider for you. In it we'll be talking about the game's lore.
That's right, we're going to be looking a bit about where the world is right now for Deathgarden, where we've been, where we're going, how as a player you're going to be interacting with some of this lore, and generally taking a deep dive into all things lore.
So Deathgarden is about coming up with the most beautiful garden on the planet. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. That's exactly what they did. The group of society people came together to make a beautiful garden. No, Deathgarden is a brutal future sport that is designed to show individuals within the future society who has the most value within that society. So the idea would be that people go into this arena and their performance will dictate how much benefit they are to that society and how much reward they get.
But there is a difference between Deathgarden in August and Deathgarden soon, where we're going. So can you tell us a bit more about that? Like,
for sure. I mean,
story-wise,
essentially there's been a 10-year time shift between the Deathgarden of August and the Deathgarden of now. Humanity has reverted back to what we know humanity can do. Hunters have taken control of the Council of Three who run the whole thing, and now they've decided that half the world, or more than half the world, should have nothing at all, and that only those inside what they call the enclaves should have all the resources of mankind. So inside these enclaves, they have everything they ever wanted.
Right.
And outside, the masses of the world live in total desperation.
And it's the hunters, basically, who become the guardians of...
Exactly. They're the deciders as to who's worthy of entry into the enclave. So from an individual who lives outside one of these enclaves, they're living mainly in desperation. They're fighting every day to stay alive. They can choose to enter this gauntlet. They can choose for the opportunity to ascend to the enclave. Now, once they sign the contract to enter the gauntlet, that's it for life.
They're committed.
Yeah, if they don't succeed in entering the enclave, then they'll be dead.
Does the lore have a direct impact on the arena, the gardens?
Yes, of course. So, I mean, each one of the gardens is procedurally generated, 3D printed using the nanoparticle ink in front of everyone. And each representation of the garden represents a time in history. So each garden that you play through actually has a history and a story about the Great War that they went through. The gauntlet was created as a memorial of the Great War. It was a reminder of the terrible atrocities that humanity once did, and ironically now is once doing again to all the runners in the environment. So yeah, each one does represent a place, a battle, an atrocity that took place during the Great War that led to the creation of the first iteration of the gauntlet.
What will they look like, the gardens?
Well, the goal is to make each one as unique to the individual story that we want to tell about that place. So the idea is that the players will go in, they'll be able to recognize a specific environment, and then they'll be able to go back and find out and read about exactly what took place in that location. So
what does this mean for our runners and for our hunters, all these changes?
Well, I think it's very important. We talked a while ago about the concept of fantasy, about why you're here and what you're doing as a player, and how the characters back that up. So by adding characters, by adding more lore, by adding more reason for everyone to be in the space we're at, I think players are going to feel much more engaged with the gameplay that we have, because each one of these now has a clear reason why they're there, and the premise of the place is no longer nebulous. It's clear that everyone is there for, like, they can't escape, right? It's effectively a prison one way or another. So now you're in there, each one has their reasons, the gameplay is altering in different ways, and this will be backed up in the way that we're telling the story and the character. So for example, the moment you enter the space as a runner or hunter, you know, we go into the locker room, and now the hunter locker room and the runner locker room are very different. So the hunter has a locker room that looks out over this enclave, over this glorious place, this wondrous land of infinite resources and wonder. And that's very much reminding the hunter that that's where they came from and that's what they're guarding. They're protecting everyone from stealing all the resources of what they already have. And for the runner, they have a very different space. It's a much darker, bleaker place to reflect the fact that they're there for life, one way or another. Like, I mean, eventually they might ascend to the enclave if they're worthy of the honor, but essentially it's not a happy place for them. It's like they're there to be brutalized over and over again, to keep coming back, to keep giving their best, to try and prove that they can reach the Enclave or die trying, one of the two.
Right. All right, well, thank you, Ash, for sharing Deathgarden's lore with us, and thank you guys for having watched this video. We're looking forward to revealing more information in January. See you then.